Good morning. My name is Oletha DeVane. I'm very delighted to be here with you and with my dear sisters here on the stage. It's always been for me an honor to be in their presence and trying to learn as much as I can about what it is that I do, because it's really always a journey somewhere to someplace. I went to Maryland Institute as a young person from the age of 17, a little bit frightened by it because I wasn't sure what I was getting into. My parents were both very supportive in the fact that I was going to an art school, which was amazing because everybody else wanted you to have a job. And I didn't have one. But I decided at one point that what I was interested in was trying to figure out how to take what talent I thought I had and apply it, to some aspect of learning. The one thing that my parents did when I was young was they moved from Baltimore. I used to live not too far from here, in fact, off of Ivanhoe, which is near Willow Avenue, which is the street we lived on. And when they moved from Baltimore, I was 13. The desegregation in Howard County was just happening, and I missed my friends dearly. And it ended up being one of those places where you really had to find your way, find out who you were, because in the school that I went to, there weren't many black students. There were like maybe 30 out of 1,000. And so I spent a lot of time trying to really look at that situation for myself as a young person and really move through the school system in Howard County. When I went to Maryland Institute, I was there in 1976, I think, and it was, as I said, difficult, but what was difficult about it was, again, going into a situation where the educational system for me was about how do I fit in, where is it that I go. I almost didn't make it through Maryland Institute. I dropped out. I dropped out. You're just finding that out. I dropped out for 2 years. And I went to California. And in California, I thought I was going to find myself. That was the 60s. I'm thinking, I'm going to do this. And I swear to God, I had to get my ass back to school. And if I was going to find myself, I was going to have to be in school. And I must have been, I forget when you came, but Leslie was the first black professor that I saw when I came back. And I had already graduated.
73.
It was 73. I'd already graduated because I graduated in 72. And I decided to audit her course. And there was one course that was on African art, the very first course that I ever went to or attended. So when I met Joyce, she had just gotten back from Mexico. And she wore blue jeans and you had overalls on. I don't know if you remember this.
Yeah,
she was in overalls. You can look at her now.
Condom.
I mean, I'm thinking, oh my God. Again, another woman who just talked, and she came up to me and started asking questions about what was I doing, why was I there. I majored in painting, and when I went on to graduate school, I majored in painting again. I must say that the courses that I took in graduate school were ones that really began to help me focus as a woman, because I took it with Janetta Cole and Esther Terry. And these women were also fierce people. I mean, they were amazing. And that course, if anything, guided my life because it made me read so much about what was going on for black women within the black culture. I feel like a lot of times what we don't do is try to understand our nobility, who we are as people. And it really is, for me, an opportunity to kind of share through my work, really, what it is that I believe, because I love that Valerie talked a little bit about the spiritual relationship that one has with your work and how it is your decoder, it's your way of understanding who you are and how you live. I don't know what's behind me. The pieces that are being shown, one is called Hagar's Children, or Hagar's Dress. And Hagar, as we know, was the mother of Abraham. And by looking at her life as the African wife of Abraham, what I understand is that she was a mother of nations. And it always intrigued me because it was, I guess in interpreting a lot of texts and a lot of spiritual things, I always felt that it was an opportunity to internalize the things that my grandparents taught me, because my grandparents were very much a part of the church, but my parents said, you don't believe everything that you hear, not even from the church, because ignorance is not acceptable. You are to investigate for oneself. It doesn't matter who is presenting to you. If you are ignorant, then you don't survive. And one of the things that I believe is that women need to be educated. Women need to be educated because we're the ones who teach our children who they will become. We are the ones who can change their minds about, how to treat, each other, and also specifically our boys. When we're raising our boys, they're the ones who are going out into that world. And we got this Me Too movement, but that Me Too movement really starts with sort of what I call the misunderstanding of how to treat a woman. And mothers have to take care of that. And I say that because I really believe that we're in a very interesting phase in our lives. Hagar's dress was at the Claremont plantation, which is in Virginia. And this particular dress is made of chains, and it has writing from the biblical text on it that reference Hagar. And I often look at this particular piece and think about what it meant to walk across those balls, you know what sweet gum balls are? Well, slaves had to walk across the sweet gum balls in order to attain freedom. And so a lot of times I will use those within my installations or exhibitions that I do. So I do a lot of things that are reflective of maybe, for me, a kind of place that I'm at that time. I tend to look at what's happening in the society. I try to look at how we can really make change through the work that we do as artists, because I believe artists are, in some ways, the decoders of the imagery and the things that are happening in society. So that's essentially what I wanted to share.